envision 3 female attorneys coming together to have our voices heard. Each of us would have different opinions, different passions, different backgrounds, and different views. Although we are different and unique, we are able to come together to discuss our experiences, navigating through the legal profession and this thing called life. Now, the vision has come alive, and we invite you each and every week to listen to us as we talk about what's trending in the news and our legal insight, tackle real-life issues that affect not only us as attorneys, but us as women of color. Disclaimer: this podcast is intended to provide entertainment and general information. The information provided and the views given are not intended to constitute legal advice and should not be relied upon as legal representation. All views expressed on this podcast are our own and do not represent the opinions of any entity whatsoever we are affiliated with now or will be affiliated with in the future.
Hi guys, welcome to No Further Questions. I know some of you guys are wondering, where is Miss Brandy? Well, we would like to thank all of our special guests for finally getting Brandy flued out. She is not here today. Just kidding. She is out doing work responsibilities. However, I'm here with you today, Samantha Frazier, and we have, of course, our lovely co-host.
Taria is still here, which is who you probably want to see anyways, so all is well.
Someone got an ego when they got back from Greece, y'all.
Life is
But
good.
we have a great show for you today, planned for you today. We have two, not one, but two Houston City Council candidates here, and we're here to discuss with you the issues that are plaguing the city of Houston. We'll allow for them to introduce themselves. To my right, I have Mr. Robin Anderson.
Thanks for having me. Hello.
Hello, Robin. So do you want to give us, what is your platform? What are you most passionate about as a candidate for the city of Houston?
My main thing right now is building more unity in our community. I see that our district is fragmented, and my goal is to be more of an advocate in this seat and bring us together.
Great. And next we have Miss Iesheia Wilson.
Hi.
She is on the right of Mr. Anderson. And tell us what your platform is today.
Great. Thank you for inviting me. And my platform mainly is about bringing communication back to the city council and to the board and bringing more transparency to the community, because oftentimes you don't really realize that everybody just goes about their day-to-day life not really knowing what's going on with their city, and that's an issue for me. So that's just one of my main focuses. And then streets, of course, drainage, flooding, crime, homelessness. I mean, it's a lot of things, but the main focus is really communication with the communities.
Okay, well, now that we've heard all the candidates' platforms and spills, we're going to get into some hard questions.
Well, before we go there.
Okay.
So they're candidates. And for our viewers who don't know what the city council does, could you kind of just break it down just a little bit to tell them what is the city council?
What is the city council? Can y'all raise my taxes? Yes or no?
You can't levy taxes.
Okay.
What
If
else
they
can you
raise
do?
the revenue cap, which is something, that's a big debate because it raises property taxes. We also go over ordinances and budget, the city budget. We take care of the community, your area, and handle complaints and, just make sure things are being done in your area and your community that you need, and just be the voice that the people need in the community, which is very rare right now.
Okay.
So it's my understanding that you don't represent all of Houston, right? There's different pockets or areas that you'd represent, correct?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So what areas are you running for?
So I'm running for District B. District B encompasses Acres Home, 5th Ward, Pleasantville, Trinity Garden, Greenspoint, Greenspoint, Intercontinental Airport, a little small portion of Woodlands, and a little small portion of Spring.
Okay. So that's a pretty big district.
It's pretty big. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm District A, so I'm Spring Branch, then from I-10 and 610 all the way to I-10 close to Willcrest, back down Gessner through my neighborhood, which is Carverdale, to some parts of Cypress breaking in and out, down to 90 to Kickapoo Road, and 1962 49 in and out, because some of the streets are Harris County.
Okay.
How many districts? My last question. Sorry, I have a ton. How many districts are comprised of Houston? I guess.
It's A through J.
A through K, and then at large 1 through 5.
Right.
Or,
And the comptroller.
yeah, and the comptroller.
Okay. Well, thank you, Taria.
No problem. I'm here all week.
Thank you.
No, thank you for clarifying that, because I could not tell you who my Houston City Council man was today.
Neither could I.
Well, where do y'all stay? See, I always ask people that because depending on what side, you want to make sure you have proper representation.
That's true. I'll have to check my mailbox for the things that they put in there. I used to know when I stayed in the Galleria area, but now I'm between Houston and Bel Air, so it's
Probably depends on what street you're on.
correct. So it splits, but we're not here to talk about me or Taria. We're here to talk about the city of Houston, because other than some people, Taria, the rest of us are Houstonians, right?
Yeah, born and raised.
Yeah, right.
H-Town. Yeah.
That's what makes
H-Town.
Houston so great,
Oh.
though. It's like the melting pot of the South. Some of us did not start here, but this is where we'll end.
Right. This is where y'all take our money and our resources. Thank you, transplants. Okay, back to you, Jim. All right, so
Who's Jim? Who's Jim?
they didn't know that it wasn't a gym until you said something. Jesus.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. So one thing that I would like to talk about, one of the issues that I see all across Houston, no matter what district you're in, is homelessness. Right? And I know that there is a ban that our mayor, Sylvester Turner, put into place regarding you can't give homeless people food like out of your car. You definitely can go to the food pantry and donate, but because they said that it was causing littering, it was causing crime to go up, that they said that, and the Sylvester Turner administration said that they have now instituted a ban where you can't feed homeless people. Do you guys agree with that ban?
I don't. It's not just that you can't feed them. They can't get food from a restaurant that's maybe throwing out food. They have a 3x3 ban, meaning 3x3x3, meaning this is the space, whatever it was in fits within that 3x3 is that's their belongings, and I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right, because nobody can live in a 3x3x3.
All right. What about you?
I actually agree with it because, well, for one, it helps with anybody can poison people, and I think when a homeless person is poisoned, they're going to sue this. They can sue the city. The city is liable, I do know that our current mayor, he has monies allocated towards certain facilities to help house homeless people, but some of them they're not taking they're not utilizing the services.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so, but I agree with it because it protects, the homeless person from being poisoned.
How many people are poisoning homeless people? I
You'd
mean,
be
no,
surprised.
I'm saying
You'd be surprised.
if you look at the statistics, I mean, first off, when you said homeless people can sue the city, me as a lawyer, Taria, have you ever seen a case of a homeless person suing the
I have
city?
not.
Oh.
That sounds,
It sounds.
it's a possibility.
I probably need to look into that area of law because it sounds like it would just be an open and shut case, right? But I don't know. I've never heard of a homeless person intentionally being poisoned, but I definitely see what you're saying as far as like food poisoning. If something's been in your car, you're like, oh, here, you can have it. And it's maybe some Chilean sea bass from, Ruth Chris. Shout out to Ruth Chris. They're delicious, by the way. But I definitely understand where you're coming from. But me personally, I personally feel like I should be able to take care of my fellow man.
That's right.
I know that some of the services that are offered to homeless people, some of the reason that they don't partake in those services is because, one, shelters are dangerous sometimes.
They are.
They're very dangerous. Sometimes they're hard to get into.
Very.
And then some shelters have some very strict rules.
Very.
when I say strict rules, it's like, oh, you have to be in by like 5. Well, I mean, I'm still an adult. Like, I'm not going to bed at 5. So what am I doing from like 5 to 9
a.m. or
o'clock?
5 p.m.?
5 p.m.
5 p.m.
Okay.
No, not 5 a.m.
I'm just
But
making sure.
yeah, 5 p.m. And so I don't know if I necessarily agree with that man, but I'm not running for city council. So do you think if you were on city council, would that be something that you would try to tackle? Or we know, Robin, you're in agreement. You want to keep it in place. But
I'm
what
tackling
about,
it.
You're tackling
It's a lot of organizations that receive funding from the city, and not everyone is using the money properly. There are organizations or shelters that say, hey, we'll take homeless people in, but with these stipulations, without really finding the underlying problem. A lot of homeless people have maybe drug habits, alcoholism, mental illness, but they don't fix the problem. It's just like, okay, well, you have to follow these rules, and if you don't, then you can't stay here. And I don't think that's right.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you touched on mental health, because I did a little bit of research prior to this. And a lot of the Houston population that are homeless do suffer from mental health. And do you guys believe that Houston offers enough mental health resources to individuals that maybe don't have health insurance or can't afford a therapist or counseling on the regular?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's not enough out there.
Why do you believe that? I mean, just because we're the 4th largest city, right, in the United States, we would think that we would have enough resources for mental health and things out there, because we're the 4th largest city, so we would be more progressive. What do you think Houston is spending their funding on? If you know.
I don't know what they're spending their funding on. That's why I'm trying to get in to see.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of organizations, I don't think that they have a lot of people who know how to handle mental health issues, or don't know like all the symptoms and signs, or don't have the proper education and knowledge and know how to help the people that need the help. So they just automatically assume they can't be helped, or they won't help them. That's my opinion.
And I guess my question on some of the same lines is homelessness actually the homelessness issue being actually addressed? Because you go put some money in this organization or that organization, and yes, there's these shelters, but it's my understanding those shelters are really for the women and the children, and it's the men who end up being on the streets. And then if you go and talk to these homeless people, a lot of them are vets.
A lot.
You know what I mean? And so I go and serve my country, I'm finished, you put me on the street, and you can't even help me to even give me the burger that you're not. If I go have a nice $100 meal and I know I'm not going to eat my food tonight and I don't have cash, I can't even give them food to eat. Like, are we addressing the real problems when you go downtown and, oh, we have Super Bowl this year, let's get all the people out real quick. And where do they go?
Right, and that's the problem. As from someone who's from a family of vets, from my grandmother all the way down to even my brothers. My cousin, he stayed in the veterans housing downtown, and they had so many rules. He's not a drug addict. He's not a felon. You know what I mean? But it was so many rules and stipulations on what he could do, who he could have, and I'm like, why do you have so many rules to an apartment that you're paying the bulk of, and the government is paying half of it? And he was just like, that's how they do us. And I think that's sad. And I think we need to, I know the veterans is a federal thing, but at the same time, they're in the city. So it needs, I know it's programs out there for vets, and I mean, like, but if you see so many vets on the street, you're wondering, are those programs really working? You have to question that. And so that's going to be like some questions I want to ask organizations, like, what's really going on?
So what are your plans if you are able to get into office to tackle, I think, one of the biggest issues in Houston, which is homelessness?
Right. It is.
Actually, to rebuttal what you're saying about the kids, I know people who actually work in homeless shelters. They say that actually it's harder to get a woman to have kids into the facilities than it is to get a veteran, you know. So I would just continue to work with people, and because I don't know all the issues, you know, but I would sit down with people and see exactly what can we do to fight it, or to help get, basically to get more people off the streets, you know, because it's rough out there. It really is. And I know my heart goes out to anybody that's homeless, you know, but You got some people who actually taking advantage of the system. You know, you have certain parts of the city. You have they call it the encampment. It's over there on South Main by Fiesta. They had to shut that place down. They put some burglar bars around under the freeway, so they just shifted. You know what I mean? So some folks really don't want the help, you know, because there is help for people out there who are homeless.
Well, I think it's also important to remember that if you are suffering from mental health issues, very few individuals who suffer from mental health issues are aware that they're suffering from mental health
That's
issues
correct.
until they are rehabilitated or treated. Meaning that, you know, I have veterans in my family. I have volunteered because the Houston Bar Association has where you go to help veterans, you know, with some legal issues. Some of them want divorces and things like that. However, a lot of veterans come back and they are on the streets because they don't know that they have PTSD. They don't know that they are suffering from some mental health disorder. You know, all they know is that they snapped and they got put out of their house, or for some of them, they came back and they didn't have any coping mechanisms or any coping methods. And so they were forced to leave either the housing that the vets have, or some of them just chose not to partake in it because these are people who have fought for our country. And sometimes handouts can be demeaning
To a lot of them, though.
To a lot
It
of them,
can.
because they are people who have fought for our country and they don't really want handouts, which, I mean, I guess it goes back to the whole giving them food and things like that. But some of them I've spoken to, they don't want charity. They just want what they're owed.
And I agree.
Or what they paid into.
I know that the VA they just like give them pills, push them out. They don't really diagnose the problem. It's I've been down there with my cousin and my brother, and it's bad. You know,
Yeah.
my brother has PTSD really bad, and he's flipped out. But it when you're at the VA, they have to understand that's their job. These are veterans who've seen things we'll never see and understand. So it's all about the caseworkers handling their cases and understanding how to deal with them, because he finally found someone who was able to deal and understand his issue, and he's better, you know. But if you don't find the underlying issue and you just do this or do that or take this, you can't do that.
But I will say Houston does have one of the best veteran hospitals.
They still slow.
They are, but they're good in the veteran affairs line hierarchy. So let's switch gears a little bit. We've talked about homelessness, but okay, I wish Brandy was here because she hates this topic. No.
Crime.
Public transportation. She hates that Houston. She says Houston, you know, Brandy's from Dallas. Shout out, Brandy. She hates that Houston doesn't have what she calls a real public transit system.
I have to agree.
And would you agree with that statement? I mean, we have Metro. I see the commercials.
Right. I rode the retro. So I had a business and I was very committed to it. My car was down, so I took a bus for like 4 months. 3 buses from 1960 all the way to Acres Home. So to me, the bus worked fine.
But if you can take a train and it takes you 10 minutes to get from one side of town to the next, wouldn't you want that?
No.
You wouldn't?
No. I like I like
scenery?
I like being in my car. I like driving. I don't like public transportation like that. I don't. The uncertainty of it. I don't like a whole bunch of people in one area.
Bougie.
It's not bougie.
Is
It is.
anxiety?
It's a safety issue.
No, it's your pollution. That's pollution.
Yes.
When I live in the Galleria.
Yeah.
And you can't go anywhere because everybody's just sitting in their cars. No one really uses carpooling like they need to. I used to sit on the tolls on I-10 and Katy, and everybody's in one person per car. And we do need a system. We're too big of a city to not have a system. And by the way, I work off of Post Oak.
Yeah, that rail.
And they're making, it's not a rail. it's a bus lane. Yeah, let me sit there again. Okay, so there's this new system coming out on Post Oak, coming like in between Westheimer,
Yeah.
Yep.
Galleria area, right? Everybody thinks it's a bus rail. It's not. It's a bus lane. Millions and millions of dollars uprooted this whole street for a bus.
Yeah, I seen that.
Wow.
I saw that.
Unproductive.
Why
I
not put
saw
a
that.
train?
Because nobody wants to ride the train. That's
Have
why.
you ridden a train before?
I have. I've ridden the train
Here,
in
down
New
here.
York.
Oh, okay.
No, I've ridden the train in New York. I felt very uncomfortable. Have you
it's a
ever been to
different
the New
ride.
York subway?
It's a different.
I haven't, but I stayed in Atlanta for 15 years, and I used to walk to the train station and take the train all the way into the airport.
Yes, I have. I think I've ridden the train in Atlanta as well. That's a no-go for me as well. I've ridden the train, I believe, in Dallas, the DART. That is also a no-go. I do not care for public transportation. In that sense. Now, if I'm going somewhere like to a football game or something like that, I still don't like it, but I also don't like parking. So,
So you have an issue that they can't even help you with.
Right, that's what it sounds
That-
like.
they
yeah.
can't even. No,
but we
no.
We're
can,
gonna
but we
have you
can
an
help
Uber.
the
We're gonna
rest
get you an
of the
Uber.
city of Houston. Okay, it's not just about me. I'm not that selfish. Okay.
Okay.
So you guys, are you for public transportation? Do you think we need a transit system?
I do. We should have been had one when they was talking about it back in the 80s, before I was born.
Right. Except nobody wanted it.
Before
Yeah,
you
but
were
see
born.
now they see the use of it. Yeah, I was born in I was born in 1980. They were talking about it before that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
What about you,
So,
Robin?
well, no,
Was I born?
No. No. Public transportation.
I mean, I'm for. Like I say, I've utilized the services, so I'm for it.
well,
So-
why are you for? Why do you believe? Each one of you believe that we do need the transportation system. Convince good old Sam over here why this would be really great for our city.
You know what's gonna happen too. I just want you to know, gasoline price is gonna go up because
Okay.
less people gonna be driving.
Air pollution.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, to me, you want to breathe. You don't
I
want to breathe all
do.
the fumes and emissions and all that. You want to have clean air.
I do.
You're not saying that they're going to bring clean air, but the less cars on the street, the better the air quality.
I agree.
There are so many other things that cause air pollution.
That's just
more
one,
than
though.
cars. We could start with airplanes. Airplanes cause tons of pollution, and we have 2 of them in the city. They do.
To the airplanes, the airport.
Airplanes to the airport.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But I'm sorry, Taria. What was your question?
I forgot because there's only 2 airplanes that come in and out of Houston. I think I took both of them this past week. Airports.
Airport. No, airplanes.
But
There are
I-
multiple planes that fly into the airport. I am correcting my statement.
Okay. You'll watch it back and you'll see.
Okay.
With the transportation, I like the idea of transit for the people who have to live outside the city. The city's rent and housing is becoming so expensive that
Yes.
essentially
Oh
you
my
have to live
God.
out in the burbs and you work
Yes.
in the city and you spend. My issue with public transportation and I don't want to spend an hour and a half in a car stopping and going and
I
what is
agree.
it, the angry person, what is it called?
Road
The angry-
rage?
road rage, where you're scared, you can't do anything, you
That's
honk, you're
right.
scared that somebody's going to shoot you. I mean, it would just be calmer and less stress for all parties involved if there was just a nice train, rail.
Let me tell you what causes
Sky
traffic
something.
I
in
agree.
Houston, and y'all need to put this on the docket. People and their children going to school. That's what caused traffic. Have you noticed in the summertime?
I'm a ex-bus driver, so please don't say that.
have you noticed? Have you noticed in the summertime traffic is less?
It's gone.
It's
That's
gone.
bad.
It's the people taking their kids to school every day that's causing the
So
traffic.
what are they supposed to do, Sam?
They need to start school earlier. Start school at 5:30 a.m. so everybody else can get to work on time.
But what about the kids that play sports and sometimes don't get, and the bus drivers that don't get home, or the teachers that don't get home to 10, 11 o'clock at night, but you want them to start school at 5:30, mean they have to get up at 3:30 to get
This
to
is the
school.
career that you chose to be in. There are sometimes in my job that I have to work late too. You can make a career change. However, that's what's causing all the traffic.
And then a lot of times in the summertime, parents take off the whole summer to be with their kids that's been in school
Right.
for 9
and
months. So you have to, think about that as far as traffic as well. But as a bus driver, I don't mind. I guess.
And you can't get rid of the kids.
Exactly.
I can't get rid of the kids. I said
children are
start
the
school
future.
earlier or later.
Education is wonderful.
Yes.
Keep taking your kids to school, please. Be
Take 'em to
product-
school, but
be-
take 'em to
be
school
proactive
early.
in your
But
child's
a lot of
life.
them can't take them to school early because they have to pay that fee.
What fee?
It's a fee to drop your kids off for someone to watch them early.
Almost like daycare.
It is a daycare. It's an in-school daycare.
Well.
I mean, and a lot of people can't afford it. You know, sometimes
Maybe
people
they
might
have
work
waivers
overnight.
or vouchers.
No, sometimes some parents work overnight, and so they don't see their kids at night. So they drop them off in the morning because they want to have breakfast with them. They want to make sure they get their day started.
Well, bingo. There's the answer. Ladies and gentlemen, we just have a new platform, waivers for dropping your kids off from school. City Council, we ask that you bring that to the
That's
to
for the
floor.
school board.
Bring that. Start it off here with the City Council.
That's for the school
and
board.
let it trickle down to the school board.
You have to talk to the superintendents and the state board of
State.
education.
Yeah.
You have to get that approved because somebody has to pay for that. So that's
That's
something that
true.
would have to
And
be
that's
involved
the
in
next
a bond.
point I wanted to bring up. Paying for the public transportation.
Not
Because
doing it. Sorry.
Clearly, this is a big issue that needs to be addressed because the traffic's not going anywhere. I heard that everybody wants to move to Houston at this point. I was all across the waters, and people were saying, "Ooh, Houston, I would like to move there too." I'm like, "Wait, just stay.
Right.
We're good right now."
Right.
Ask them, did they see that flood last week?
Okay.
They didn't.
Okay.
They did not.
They catch that flood?
But if we
Shout out
were
to
to
the
get
building.
this transportation in place, I would love it, but it's going to cost money. Who's paying for that?
That's
Not
what
me.
Metro
Yours.
has on the. If I don't know if you all saw the ballots, but the ballot is the Metro Next is actually they have that on the ballot for the voters to vote on to improve transportation. So I'm for public transportation, but you have to. I always tell people just do your research because Metro also received money from the city a few years ago to work on this same plan, and they felt like they didn't do it right. So now, they want to come back to the city and have.
I have a question.
That
Did that
article
just
said
say
3.5.
$3.5
Yes, uh-huh.
billion
You read it right.
dollars?
Can you find the article where it says where they misappropriated the funds for the same thing previously?
We don't need to find no other article because I can tell you right now, I pay for public transportation or for transportation.
But
It's
we
called
need it.
It's called a car note. I pay a car note.
That's not
I pay for
public.
my
And it
transportation.
should.
But how long have y'all researched how long it would take if this is on the ballot this time?
Too long.
$3.5 billion.
I haven't researched it because I need to see the plans. Like that's the thing. Like we don't know the plans.
Right.
I would like to see the plans. Like, what are y'all plans? And also, once elected, I want to hold people at Metro accountable because to me, they don't have any accountability.
And I want to jump back into city council persons in general. As a city council person, what is your power? What type of power do you have? So let's say, this comes to the ballot, this $3.5 billion, that's B is a boy.
B.
That's
$billion
billion people.
comes through. And now this is going to happen. What do y'all have the power to be able to do?
We have a vote. The city is ran by the mayor. The mayor sets the whole agenda for the city, but we all have to vote on it and says yay or nay. And so we have a voice. We have power.
Okay, so are y'all underneath the mayor then?
Check.
Okay.
It's a mayor strong run city. We can bring our agendas that our community and districts want to the board, but you got to have so many other members in agreements in order to bring it before the mayor to put on the agenda. And that's what I don't like because what's happening in my district might not be happening in somebody else's district. So the mayor be like, that's not to whoever the mayor is going to be or the councilman, that's not important. But my thing is what may not be important to them is important to me. And I feel like at some point, it's going to be vice versa, So I just think everybody needs to start working together, have more, not a kumbaya, but have your say so, have your disagreement, but at the same time look at it, the overall big picture, which is the community.
Would the word be unity?
Yes,
There you go.
there it is.
Unity. There you go.
Unify?
Unify on the board.
So I do know with the public transportation, one thing that I am for is that Houston has been trying to push for the Olympics. And I'm a big Olympics fan. And one of the reasons why we never get the vote is because we don't have a public transportation system that can house that many people, because I don't know if you are Olympic enthusiasts, but you have to have so many facilities and sports arenas that you can go to. And so we have the arenas now, but we don't have a way where people can like get from NRG to the Toyota Center without having to drive.
That's right.
Wow,
or people being able to get out to the soccer fields or whatever the other U.S. sports without. So for that, I may support public transportation.
So you're gonna approve that $3.5 billion?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to pray on it because my car note.
I always tell people just research what you voting on. It's very important to know what you voting on.
And it sounds to me, because I still want to, by the time y'all end today, I want everybody to know what city council person does, right? I don't know if you know my agenda, but it sounds like to me that
You're
you guys
subtle, Taria.
I'm not. That y'all are kind of like the voice of the citizens of Houston or whatever district you're coming from, right? So then if I feel like public transportation is what I need because I live in Acres Homes, which at this point is a lower income area, and I cannot afford a $400 car note a month.
Right.
I gotta get into the city to the Toyota Center, and maybe the bus is not working for me.
For $3.5 billion, they could buy everyone in Acres Home fofo a cash car and still have money left over.
You're not focused.
So
Cash, I don't know.
cash car.
What about the insurance?
Well,
They
we'll work
have
on that. For
liability.
$3.5 billion, it'll come with insurance. Y'all haven't seen them signs. $25. Liability only, though.
Yeah, it's liability, yeah.
Liability only. We can't help you for
Cash
full
car,
coverage.
all you gotta have is liability, yeah, that's true.
There you go. I think we just solved the public transportation.
So what is the downfall
Prices.
of a public of signing a bill or voting for something like a $3.5 billion besides what Sam was talking about, this $400 car note that some people cannot even afford?
I didn't say it was $400.
Oh, I put the $400 number there. Okay, $400 car note. But what is the downfall, do y'all believe, if this bill or this vote were to come through? What's the...
The only guess that I would give is that 3.5 could have went to something else.
Correct.
Towards our flooding issue.
Like homeless people.
Exactly, So
But
that's
that is for the metro. So the downfall, I don't think it'll really be a downfall if you have accountability and everybody knows what Metro's plans are. If you don't know the plans, then that can be your downfall. But we need improved public transportation.
So where does this money, when you see it on the ballot and you won't see $3.5 billion, but I would say
I think it is on there.
Is it going to say $3.5 billion bond?
sure.
Okay. So when you see it on the ballot, where is this money coming from? Where they get?
Taxpayer.
There's your answer, Taria. Downfall. Taxpayers paying for you to decide to live out in Katy and you too backed up to drive in to the Galleria. There you go. So you can pay for it on top of your car note. That's going to be sitting at home that you ain't even driving anymore.
But taxpayers pay for everything.
Correct.
True.
We do.
So if that ballot is showing $3.5 billion for the Metro, then good for them, because most of the time the numbers are not in there. And you're just saying, oh, I would love to have
the bond,
the bond or the public transportation, or I would love that the police officers have.
Oh, wow.
Let's say they put in there, we want more police officers. You're like, oh, our city will be safe. No one puts in there how much it's going to cost to go and double or triple your task force. So I'm okay with them putting the numbers in there, because I think, one of the downfalls of election time is that we go and tell our communities, go out and vote. But we don't say research before you get to the ballots, right? Go vote for Joe Jackson.
Right.
Yeah.
They go vote for Joe Jackson
just because somebody said,
because he looks like him, but you don't know what Joe Jackson is supporting. You don't know anything about Joe Jackson. You don't know if Joe Jackson actually is going to help you out. Joe Jackson actually might be taking the $3.5 billion, and that's food from your kid's mouth,
Are
right?
you talking about Joe Jackson, the athlete?
I just brought that up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know who Joe Jackson is. If
I
they're
was
on the
like,
Kennedy
Joe
list.
Jackson ran for city council?
that's
No.
Michael Jackson daddy.
Okay.
That's
Yeah, Jackson's there.
Oh, wait,
love
no, that's
Jackson.
Bo Jackson. Okay, never mind. Forget it.
I just used the name, people. But no, I just think that I'm cool with them putting that number on the ballot because I think it just gives people another opportunity to be educated about it. And we do have a huge issue here with the transportation and pollution.
But I want you to also have a full thought, right? Because I think about, seriously, I know, I've made jokes, but I think about it from a full standpoint. Okay, so if you have public transportation, you have to have more police officers, more money, okay?
More Metro police officers.
More money.
But that should be included in what they're already asking for.
$3.5 billion.
Yeah, but
It
then
should
you're
be.
going to have higher crime rates, right? And then you're going to have higher prosecution. Like you're going to have to pay to prosecute those people. It costs money to prosecute those people. So it's not just a matter of, $3.5 billion and voila, that's it. No, everything else is a trickle-down effect. Everything else in Houston will be affected by this public transportation.
So are you saying that if you bring in public transportation that you have a higher crime rate?
That's what
I'm saying that I won't say that you have a higher crime rate, but what I'm saying is that I guess, yeah, because you have more crime. Yes, I would say that. Yes.
By public transportation, you gain more crime.
Yes. Have you ever been to New York subway?
I
We're
have.
talking about Houston. That's different.
Well, what I'm saying, we're talking about public transportation. You have pickpocketers. You have people who just stand around and steal people's identities.
They do that from
sometimes.
the internet because I've had that done.
Yeah, they do it from the internet. But I'm saying that when you're going to have a mass amount of people in one section, commuting back and forth together, you're going to have people who take advantage of that. More people than a carjacking, okay? Like, you don't see as much carjackings or armed robberies in your car. So just keep that in mind that, yeah, you are going to have higher crime. I believe that. But hopefully you'll carry some mace. Maybe they'll pay for your mace with the $3.5 billion.
Maybe Mace comes on back of the buses or something.
Yeah, like when you get a membership sign up, we give you some mace and your phone will automatically call 911.
Okay.
Okay, so what? Okay, they're laughing. Just keep in mind. All right, so the next thing that we want to talk about is flood mitigation. Now, I don't know who was here for Harvey. Show of hands.
I was here for Hurricane Alicia. So.
Who was here for Harvey?
Don't know what.
I'm just saying.
Oh, Alicia was, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay,
Anyway, okay.
we're here talking about Harvey.
I'm
Okay.
just saying. We've had
Because
issues way
we
back.
had
since
Ike
then.
and
But anyway.
We have. I'm from towards the Galveston area, and a lot of people don't know this, but going to like elementary school down there, you had hurricane drills.
We did too.
Yeah.
I'm from here.
Really, a lot of Houston people, they say they didn't have hurricane drills when they were in
What's the
elementary
age
school.
group you talking to? Because that makes a difference. A lot of stuff they used to do back in the day, they don't do anymore.
Well, I'm saying I just talked to my peer group, right? And so a lot of them, they're like, we didn't have that. But, it's where it really wasn't much of a drill when you think about it. It was like, go in the hallway and cover your head.
Face the wall.
What, so I can't see the hurricane swept me away? What is that? I mean, we could at least have like a life raft or give me an umbrella. Like something. It's like, go in the hallway, cover your head. So when the flood comes,
You sure it wasn't a tornado? I don't think
that's
that
a tornado
that was
drill.
tornado.
it was a
drills.
hurricane drill. I
Because
promise.
I lived in
Couldn't have been
Louisiana
hurricane.
and we never had hurricane drills.
It had to be
on the
tornado.
Gulf Coast. We
Yeah.
never had them because there's no point of them unless you're saying, hey, whoa, that's the alarm. Whoa. Go up to the second floor, go on the roof. That should be your drill, not get on the floor, first floor, and cover your
I
head.
was there. I was there. They called it a hurricane drill.
What ISD is that?
They closed, y'all. That's all I'm gonna say. They closed. Don't shade them, okay?
Wow.
They're not open no
Obviously
more.
they
That
closed.
had to be tornado. 'Cause I don't think that they would let us go to school with a hurricane is coming to
Right.
us. You know what I mean? So
And you're gonna be on the floor
thing,
covered
the
with your
thing is
head.
that when you're close to the Gulf, they cannot close school every time it's a potential hurricane. They can't. So sometimes the district will wait, and they won't close the school. Just like
That's what happened with
with this
Imelda.
last one. So the thing is that a lot of hurricanes will come into Galveston and wouldn't really affect Houston as much. So if they close the school every time it's a hurricane warning, we would have never had school. Nobody would have ever graduated.
No,
So
well, you talking about tropical storms as opposed to hurricanes. Hurricanes have come. They say, you know what, Ike is coming. It came, you know, but tropical
No.
storms are different.
no, I'm telling you that you're talking about category like 3s and 4s, but when you're talking about like a category 1, yes, when it comes in, it's a tropical storm, right? But when you're at school, it may have picked up and became a hurricane.
Right.
They're not going to cancel school for a hurricane that's like a category 1 or 2 if it's just raining. Somebody has to make that call. The superintendent has to make that call.
Correct.
Because it happens so often in Galveston County, they don't always close everything. That's what I'm telling you. So they just prepare in case you come to school, it's a tropical storm, your parents can't get to you, here's what you do. Okay? So no, it was a tropical storm. I was there. I remember. Okay? All right. Trust me on that. So, but going back to Houston, okay, and the flooding. So we were talking about Harvey.
I forgot about that.
I'm so glad you came back.
Yeah.
Well,
You were in the Hurricane 5
Robin was
weeks,
trying
you know?
to tell me that it was. I'm like, I was there. But anyway, okay. Okay. I digress.
How old were you again?
I digress.
3.
Moving forward. Okay. Do you want to talk about flood mitigation
Yes.
or not?
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. So,
So they're covered. So they're in their school. They're on the floor. Their
Over
heads
their
are
heads.
covered.
right.
Woo,
Waiting
woo,
for the
woo, woo,
hurricane.
That's the alarm. And flood water comes through.
Right.
How do you mitigate that?
Right. What
I don't know why they're on that floor, but hey, hopefully
At
God
that point,
covers them.
just get
Yeah.
up and hold on to something. To me,
Pray.
going to school.
Well, what is Houston doing because really and truly, Houston is not necessarily affected by hurricanes. They are affected by the rainfall that comes with the hurricanes, unlike Galveston County,
Right.
which is affected by the wind.
Right.
So why do you think Houston is so prone for flooding? And is there anything, I mean, it's a natural disaster. What can you really do to mitigate the damage?
I think it boils down to drainage issues because I remember, not too long ago, certain parts of the city didn't flood when it rained real bad, but now it's flooding and it's something to do with the drainage.
What age were you? Oh my God!
Not that long ago.
Are you sure it was drainage?
I'm positive. Yeah. So when I was staying off of like I-45 and 249, the Hidden Valley area, our street didn't flood.
Right.
But then as later on during the years, it starts to flood. Now. It floods over there now.
But your district doesn't flood as bad as some other areas.
Yes, it does.
It does. Okay.
Yeah, the northeast end was at Scenic Wood. Over there, yeah, it floods a lot. Greens Point.
Well, do you have a plan to help your district, or are you going to just buy them boats and rafts, or build a boat
most likely,
like Noah?
most likely, I'll be out there in the boats helping people. That's for sure. But because I've done it before. But only thing I can think of is just checking the drainages. I really don't know. 'Cause I'm not an irrigationist. I don't.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay. What about you, Miss Wilson?
First off, the city and the county have to start working together because the county is so wide. Houston sits inside of it. So you have to look at the bayous along with the drainage and see what's really going on. You also have to look at how these developers are developing these projects and these properties and these homes and these buildings without the proper drainage for the runoff. That's the problem, a part of the problem. But where I stay at, we have ditches and we hardly ever got any flooding. But now it's like if you spit on the ground and everybody flooding,
Right.
But I stay close to the Addicts Reservoir and they hadn't maintained that in 71 years. So my question is, what you been doing with the money?
So what do you mean by you say by the Addicts Reservoir? What is that?
That hole's supposed to hold all the extra water that comes in.
Okay.
Like Bear Creek, like that park is supposed to be like a watershed for all the extra water. But when they opened it, it flooded all the way, like, for Harvey when they opened it. They finally decided to open it because the parts on the one side of the Beltway didn't get any water. That whole area didn't get any water until they opened it.
Okay.
So when they opened it, by that time the bayous are full, so it has nowhere to go. But they couldn't maintain the water because it hadn't been maintenance in over 71 years.
Okay.
And that's a problem.
So, do you believe that there is a way for Houston to fix this flooding problem? Or should I just buy flood insurance? And
If you buy flood insurance, you probably still won't even get the full amount of your policy. I know people going through that right now.
okay.
But
I guarantee you I will get mine.
what?
She's a lawyer.
Oh, okay, probably you, but I'm saying a lot of people who have flood insurance, it's no good.
Right.
So,
But you should still get flood insurance.
yes, please.
Yeah, please.
Don't get flood insurance.
Don't not get flood insurance,
Right.
but get renter's insurance too. They're two separate
Right.
policies. For
And
people
get
who
gap
don't.
insurance as well while we on that. 'Cause Your car
Exactly.
could get flooded out.
Exactly.
I have had that happen to me. In the random flood, remember a couple years ago, it was, it wasn't even a
Tax
tropical
day.
storm.
Tax
It was just a
day.
rain.
It was
Memorial
just Memorial Day.
Memorial Day.
It was just Memorial Day. And my car got flooded out in total in Memorial Day. And it was just like, and then it was sunny. I was more mad that nobody else went through it. It was just like a couple people, you know?
Yeah.
And everybody else just went about their
And
day.
I guess I struggle with this issue because I went through Hurricane Katrina. And so everybody understood and gets New Orleans, right? We always knew that New Orleans, that could happen because of how it sits. And then you come to Houston, and I've been here on and off since 2010, and you have all these issues, and I'm like, no one gets it. No one understands that we have a problem, and we'll go and mention the word drains. It's the drainage, and we need to go add this or that. But I don't see anything happening.
Right.
I see on Post Oak a bus line being put in
That they're digging.
that they're digging in, and there's no extra drainage. And so when we just had the tropical storm Imelda 2 weeks ago, I saw Yukons underwater.
Wow.
Okay, and they're digging to put this bus line in, and I'm like, who do we need to talk to
Well, you
knock
want
on
that
their
pub-
head and say, hey, while we're fixing the highways and the byways, and while we're adding tolls off of 288, and while we're putting the bus line in, and even if we do public transportation, we're gonna be digging anyways. There's other systems that can be used because we're not the only city in America that sits lower. We're not
Correct.
the only city in America that sits on bayous.
That's supposed to be what the requirement is. But when you don't have people that are holding these organizations accountable to make sure they meet the standard or meet above the standard so it won't flood, then that's what you get.
But then also, didn't Houston receive like a ton of money from the federal government
From Harvey.
after
From Harvey?
Harvey? Yeah.
And who got the money? Where's the money at now?
Well, the city of Houston got it, right? And that's the last time I seen it. So
Because I know people who still waiting on Harvey help. People couldn't even get Red Cross or FEMA help, and they went to the city, and
friend.
they haven't been able to get any kind of
FEMA
help.
and Red Cross don't help.
I already know that.
Okay,
but,
let's say.
But I'm
You
just
can
saying.
get Go
that
talk to the
hot
Katrina
500,
survivors.
you could get the
You,
hot
you can
500.
talk to the Ike survivors
Well-
and the Harvey survivors. We didn't get anything from nothing.
You can get
you
that
know?
hot 500 that they would give.
What
Give it out.
500?
Yeah, you got $500 if you
Okay.
waited in time.
Oh.
I didn't get it because I wasn't in need like that, so I felt bad. But I think that that's part of the problem too, is that some people who really weren't as affected, they take advantage
Take
of that,
advantage,
Right.
and then the people who really are affected,
They can't get help.
really can't get it.
I agree.
I just think that I don't know what they're gonna do with the flooding, and I don't know what happened to the money to help with the drainage, because I mean,
That's what the drainage tax is supposed to be for. It's like $150+ million a year for drainage tax that we're paying.
I'm gonna start looking at that
So, and I guess
I'm serious.
because my
We have
neighborhood
to.
floods like crazy.
I want to go back to City Council.
Okay.
Okay, so mayor comes and says, hey, we have all this money from the federal government. We want to add in drains. And then the council, it's 12, 13 districts or something like that, right? Give or take. Y'all then go and say yes or no to that. Is that correct?
It has to boil down to the CIP projects too as well.
Capital
What is the
improvement.
CIP
Capital
project?
improvement.
Okay.
Okay, and what does that mean?
Depending on your area, I know. Okay, so for my area, my current council person who is term limited, this is her last term. She's using that money to beautify some parts of Spring Branch. She said it's for drainage, quote unquote, in certain parts that she knows floods, that's been flooding. And I over there off of Gessner in between Kempwood and Clay, close to my area, it was a golf course that was supposed to retain all the water when it flooded. Well, the golf course is no longer there, and she approved a project of 900 homes to go there. So it's all about how the council person uses that capital improvement money to improve their area. So if they don't let's say they do approve a developer to go in and beautify the area, fix the roads, but they don't put the proper drainage in or put the proper detention in, then what's the point? You know what I mean? So to me, it's a waste. But to take green space to put concrete, you're not thinking about but it's no drainage in the neighborhood. It's nowhere for the water to go besides
In your house.
other people's houses, because the way they're building it up. So when you build something up, the water gonna run down, and it's gonna run down to everybody else around it. You know what I mean? So
They need to look into River Oaks and how their drainage system is, because they never
They're a
flood.
player, yeah.
They never flood.
but look what kind of houses there are.
Correct. And their house, their driveway is so slanted,
It's up,
like
houses
up on a hill, you know?
Well, and I guess that's the second part of my question is, y'all are here because y'all are running for these positions, correct? And I think it's my humble opinion that whoever gets this mayorship is going to bring back up this drainage, because we're coming on the map again, not because we're the fourth largest city, but because we're this huge city and we're always underwater.
That's right.
Okay, so I think that y'all are going to be positioned to deal with, if you're put in place, a capital CIP, capital improvement project. What is your capital improvement project going to be in your districts?
Right now, there are already projects in the pipeline. So once I'm elected, I'm gonna see what's in the pipeline and what's not, and I'm gonna look at the areas that are not in the pipeline. I know for a fact my neighborhood, we've been asking for 2 streets to get redone for the longest because they are just horrible. But it's always, we don't have the money. But this will give me an opportunity to see where the money really is going, and to see how I can improve and beautify my neighborhood, because it is a black and brown neighborhood. You know, it is a low income neighborhood, you know, as well as keep improving upon the higher class of Spring Branch, or even on 1960-249 area. You know what I'm saying? Because it's parts over there that need improvement too. So you, as a council person, you have to be able to reach every part of your district. And if you can't reach every part of your district, that's what the at-large positions are for. They're there to help the council person. So.
What about you?
So my capital improvement, we've had things on the books for 20 plus years. So Little York, West Little York, that goes from West Montgomery to Antoine, that they was trying to widen their street for like 15, 20 years. So they just not did it. I think they finished it like last
2 years ago.
about 2 years ago, but it's been on the books for 20 years. Acres Home it's a different monster, you know what I mean? And so, but until I get in there and see what's all in the books, that's the way I can know what's going to come down on the agenda. What I'm gonna tackle first.
Well, let me tell y'all, we're about to wrap up and we're hitting into Rest My Case, but let me tell you something that you need to put on your agenda, okay?
Okay,
All
let me
right.
All right, write it down. How y'all gonna save all these people on the public transportation when it flood? Okay, Samantha's gonna be in her car. Okay, so now we're moving
No,
in.
no,
Yes,
no, let me-
all y'all gonna be trapped on the subway or transit system.
So can I charge them? So my charge would be that I wish y'all the best in this upcoming election.
Thank you.
But I would charge y'all to, I think, as a citizen, I personally don't care how many trees are sitting on the sidewalks if my car is going to be sitting there too because it's flooded.
Right.
So
I agree.
if you're going to go and beautify, nobody cares. Put drainage systems in now, and then y'all can beautify later, because
I
I think
agree.
that is the bigger issue at
agree.
hand that
I
needs
agree.
to be dealt with,
I agree.
because
Right.
these storms are not going to stop.
I agree.
And we have an issue that needs to be dealt with, and I know how she feels about public transportation, but even if we get the public transportation in, you're right. They're gonna be flooded in the public transportation.
Flooded on Metro.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
You sure are. But one thing that I would like for you guys to consider seriously is the construction. The construction, it's
Ridiculous.
the construction is insane. I don't know why we need 17 lanes on I-45. I mean, when is it enough?
You don't know why?
I don't know why we need ramps, like 16 ramps.
You
Like,
don't?
No, I don't.
But you don't want public transportation.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't want public transportation.
She likes to sit in traffic.
I told you my plan. Okay? Told you my plan. These people with these kids need to get to school early. Okay?
I'm gonna
That's
make
my
sure I
plan.
find me some school board people running.
Right.
Please.
But come on in.
Come on in here. Okay, so guys, seriously, we have one part of our segment is rest my case. So if you could pick one thing that you would like to rest your case on, or one issue, what would that be? We'll start with you, candidate Wilson.
It would be the flooding. I'm sick of it, and I'm praying I win so I can get in and really tackle it so we can stop talking about it, because
Right.
that seems like that's the subject everybody talks about, and people are afraid of the flooding. So, and I feel like I don't have kids yet, so I don't want to have to think about, well, am I going to get flooded out if I have a child? Because I think about people like the spring bus or something that got caught in the flood on 45
Yeah.
in the water, So I think once we handle the flooding issue, then it can be over and done.
And there are legit people who suffer from PTSD
Right,
from
from
Harvey
Harvey.
and having to go through that whole ordeal. I
Right.
have plenty of friends that anytime it rains, they're just holding their
Anxiety
breath.
attack. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
What about you, candidate Anderson?
Well, my district is a little bit different from over in District A. So my goal is really to tackle the economic development issues. But with us, it boils back down to home ownership. Most of my district are transient livers. So my thing is encouraging to get into a home, get some stability, and that's how we're going to fix our community. That's how we're going to get the economic development in, the infrastructure to facilitate everything else. So mine is economic development.
So you're resting your case that we need to have more economic development.
No, we need economic development. There's like food deserts. There's no healthy eating places to go. It's pretty bad in District B.
But I've been in Acres Home. Y'all got some good eating places. They may not be healthy, but they good. I can tell you that. What about you, Miss Hutchinson?
Homelessness, and it's an issue that's very passionate to me, because I feel like a lot of the people that you see on the side of the streets are looked at as less human, and
Yeah.
I kind of want people to realize that they are still human.
That's right.
I agree.
And most of them just fell on hard times. They're
That's
not
right.
lazy. They're not picky, and they, all these things. It's most of America is only one step paycheck away from
That's
being
right.
on the street as
That's
well.
true. I agree.
And so
So right.
if we could just remember that when these issues do come up and it sits on the ballot about homelessness and building more shelters and, treating them like we would want to be treated.
That's right.
Because at the end of the day, they're homeless. We can't give out money to them, or we can't give out food to them. But really, your brother or your sister, or even you, could be on that street the
That's
next
right.
day
I agree.
with their kids
Totally
asking just
agree.
for $1 to get a hamburger.
I
That's
totally
right.
agree.
So
I would like to rest my case on people who do not vote in local elections. I mean, this is the perfect segue into go out and register to vote. Find out who your councilman is. I said I moved, so I have to go look up my council person and who's on the ballot. But make that extra effort. A lot of these things not only affect you, but affect your family members, affect someone else. And we have a habit of complaining about things. And then we wait and wait and wait, and we get on to November 5th and realize the line's so long, and we don't want to stand in line, and we just get what we get. And then we get upset when we get what we get. So whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, don't affiliate with any party or bipartisan, I would like to rest my case on the people who do not vote. Go out and vote, guys. Not just in the presidential elections, but right here with your councilmen. please make an effort to go out and vote. What is the day that early voting starts, guys?
October 21st.
Say it
And you-
again.
October 21st, and you can vote anywhere.
21st.
October 21st. And what do you need to vote, guys?
Your ID,
Your ID.
voters registration.
You just need your ID and you
Or
need to
your
be
voter's
or your voter's registration. So keep that in mind when you go to these polls and people are telling you need to bring all this extra stuff, show your birth certificate and all this stuff. Don't listen to that. Bring your ID or your voter registration card and get out there and vote, guys.
And read the ballot. It's beyond candidates, right?
Yes.
Because there's all those words at the
Amendments.
bottom of it, and people don't look at them to see what the bonds are, to see about the public transportation. Maybe you do feel like Sam, and you want to pollute this whole city. Maybe you do.
I didn't say
Vote
that.
against it. You
I
know.
didn't say
But
that.
if you believe that everybody should have a way to get in and out of work, then
Right.
vote yes for that.
Yeah, and I'm going to vote for Taria to get her can of mace when she signs up for the public transit system. But you can also print out a ballot ahead of time. I suggest that anytime that I vote, I go online and I find, you can Google Harris County ballot early voting. It'll come up. It'll show you exactly what's on the ballot. So I know exactly the names that I'm going for. The things that I don't know about, I can Google them. I can look them up and become familiar. So that way, when you go in, you're confident. You know exactly who you're voting for. You don't have to deal with them people that try to give y'all them flies. Be like, I know who I'm voting for. I know who I'm voting for. Don't give me none of that. So don't put none on my car. Just let me go in and vote. So that is... What, Taria? That I don't like all that. Like, just back up a taste.
Can I ask y'all one more question?
Sure.
So, because you're the voice of the community, is there a place where people can find you guys to see, are you going to be representing them properly in their certain districts?
Yeah,
Like, can
website
they,
or-
website or
Oh, yeah,
email
yeah,
or
yes,
whatever?
yes, most definitely. I'll let you go first.
You can find me at IesheaWilson.com. It's IESHEIA Wilson.com. You can find me on Facebook, Iesheia Wilson for District A.
District A.
Yes, that's right.
Right.
Twitter, Instagram, I'm all.
And will you respond if they have
very much
messages
so.
and stuff?
Have you looked where you are on the ballot?
I am number 6 on the ballot.
Number 6, guys. Number 6 on the ballot. What about you?
All right. You can reach me at www.robinjanderson.com. I'm on Instagram, Robin_J_Anderson on Instagram. And on Facebook, I'm Robin J. Anderson. I'm number 4 on the ballot.
Number 4 and number
For
6.
district
District B.
B.
For the fofo.
Number 4.
And you can vote at any polling location. It's 757 polling locations this year.
Except
Except
on the actual date, right?
Right.
No, on the actual date. You can
Early
vote.
regular voting?
You can vote at any polling location.
Well, she taught us something. Okay.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
You need to tell the voter people.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
I
You need
do.
to tell us that. Okay. Well, guys, we just want to thank you for having us. You guys
Thank
were
you for
great.
inviting us.
We're going to
appreciate
solve
it.
and tackle these Houston issues. And if you
Yes.
need me to come and speak on behalf of what I like, what I don't like in your CPI plans, CIP plans, sorry,
Capital improvement.
then I will do so. I'm for the community. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
I
What's your
appreciate
name, Sam, before we leave?
Oh, yes. You can follow me on, back to you, Jim.
There is no gym. There is no gym. It's just 3 women, 3 lovely black attorneys. My name is Taria Hutchinson. You can follow me on Instagram, simply being T. See some good new Grease photos that just came out. It was a pleasure. Thank you guys so much for coming.
you.
Thanks for having us,
Shout out
man.
to our other co-host, Brandy.
What's up, Brandy?
Hey,
What's
Brandy.
up, Brandy?
Yes.
Who is
Thank
in
you.
Nacogdoches.
All right, that's on
Got
my
people
Where
out
is
there.
that?
SFA,
No one knows.
SFA.
So we miss her so much.
Yes. Oh, also you can follow us on on Instagram at No Further Questions Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter, NFQ Pod, and you can check us out on iTunes, YouTube, Facebook. You can subscribe to us if you love to. We love to hear from our listeners, and if you love our podcast, we love you back. If you don't, you're a wrap. All right. Thank
I
you.
subscribed.